Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to a recap of night number 13 of Big Brother Season 25, broadcasting a long way away from the Big Brother house, a long way away from their backyard, which is where most of the house guests spent most of their time yesterday and last night. They still have the backyard open, so they're taking advantage of it. Lots of talking going on, a lot. I'm going to try to condense it into about a 30-minute recap, but here's the thing. It really... 90% of the conversations fall into one of two topics. One, we hate Hisam, we want him gone. Or two, who do we want to vote out this week, Riley or Cameron? There you go. I could probably just leave it at that, and that's your recap for the evening. But we'll talk a little bit more. But those are the two themes of the evening. Lots to talk about, so let's get right into it. First of all, in terms of where the house is right now, Hisam is HOH. He nominated Riley and Cameron for eviction. He also won veto. We had the veto ceremony yesterday. And as expected, he didn't change the veto. Now it's Riley and Cameron on the block. One of those two is going home Thursday night, unless there's some weird twist or something. Is it still Thursday night eviction or Wednesday? I think it's Thursday night, but I know the schedule is going to be changing here a little bit before too long once Survivor kicks in and things like that. But either Riley or Cameron are going home this week, and that's really a big question that hadn't been settled yet. They're still debating about it. Now, that veto ceremony, even though it was uneventful in terms of results, because we knew that he wasn't going to change the veto, doesn't mean it wasn't uneventful in terms of what was said. Apparently, and we didn't get to hear the speeches yet. We'll hear them on the broadcast of the TV episodes. But apparently, Hisam's veto speech during that ceremony must have just been absolutely brutal to Riley, because that was a major course of conversation. People talking about just how horrific he talked to her or talked about her during that veto competition. It makes me really want to see this veto speech when it occurs, because it must have been one doozy of a speech. Because we didn't hear it, but as the feeds came back on after the ceremony, we saw Hisam actually apologizing to Riley about what was said. That I don't remember the wording used. Maybe he went overboard a little bit, went a little too far. If Hisam is apologizing to Riley, there's something to that speech that was made. Later, Jared talking to Riley said that what Hisam had said just wasn't cool. Hisam spent a lot of time yesterday talking to a lot of individual house guests about the speech, saying that he messed up, saying that he went too far, trying to make amends as best he could. We got Izzy and Nicole talking about someone who suddenly took over a lot of the conversation. Well, not the conversations, but certainly had a much bigger presence yesterday. Nicole is hearing this talk about Riley versus Cameron. She isn't having any of it. We saw some great feeds of her in the storage room, just wanting to rip her hair out, that people are so wishy-washy about what they want to do. She sees a very clear path. Get Riley out while they still have the chance. Don't necessarily alienate Hisam this week while he's still part of their alliance. It's pretty clear to her, and I think she has a point. But yeah, we saw Nicole quite a bit yesterday. But we've got Izzy and Nicole talking about Hisam, that they do want him out. The question is just when do we do it, and how much do we upset him before we do it? Izzy wants him gone ASAP, but Nicole's saying, look, we could use Hisam as a shield. Yeah, still get him out pre-jury. I'm not disagreeing with that, Izzy, but everyone wants Hisam out. So why are we in such a huge hurry to backdoor him or get him out next week? Keep him in here. Keep him as a target for another week or two, and then we'll take care of business. So that's Nicole's pitch to Izzy, but Izzy wants him gone immediately. Later, we've got Nicole talking to the cameras in storage. Again, one of her little soliloquies that was great. She talks about her alliance of 7, the professors, that they all want Hisam gone. Who's part of that alliance? And she's saying they want him gone because of one speech. It must have been one heck of a speech. And it is more than that. Izzy is upset that Hisam has been kind of over talking her, and he doesn't feel like he's giving her a lot of respect. He does talk very confidently. We'll just say it like that. But Nicole is saying one speech, and now everyone's ready to show him the door. She's telling herself that they could get him out pre-juries, as said, but if they do it right now, their alliance is no more. They're going after one of their own, and that it's really going to weaken their side of the house if they do that. More on that here in a little bit. We've got Jared and Blue talking about dating and love languages outside. Not really much, if any, game talk itself. Possible showmance forming. Maybe we'll find out. I don't know we're going to see the showmances as much as we've seen in past seasons, because you get the bigger range of ages, and along with that, more people married and committed and things like that. We'll see. We're going to keep track of it. All right, we've got Izzy and Sari talking about getting out Hisam. Oh, what a over and over again, the same conversations taking place. Talking about getting out Hisam. Izzy is mentioning Nicole's comment about Hisam being a shield. But Sari is saying, look, I get that. I completely understand that. But we have to take the shot when it presents itself. We can't wait on Hisam to maybe have another opportunity down the road. He's not competing next week. This is our opportunity. There'll be other shields. We've got to get him out while we can. Nicole comes over and Izzy tells her, kind of paraphrases what Sari says, yeah, I know what you're saying, but we've already got other shields in this house, other people that are going to be bigger targets if we get out Hisam as quick as we can. Nicole is also, now this is interesting, and they didn't really go into detail with it, but Nicole is wondering if Hisam might shift because of the backlash from his speech. And I'm not sure if she was talking about shift his targeting. He wants Riley out. I can't see that. Maybe it's just that maybe he wouldn't be as upset if they saved Riley. I don't think that's the case either. But apparently, Nicole and the others are wondering just how Hisam is going to respond to everyone based on this speech that he gave. All right, we've got Corey talking to Jared. Corey tells Jared that he would really rather have Riley stay. But Jared doesn't really respond to Corey. Now, they have some conversations later, but Jared is seeing everyone wondering what's going on, and he's pulled back a few times, and other times he's having a discussion. At this point, Jared's saying, yeah, I can't talk about it right now. Over and over again, I just can't talk about it. All right, we've got America and Nicole talking on the hammock. Both of them are considering voting to save Riley. Nicole does not want to do that, though, but they're both talking about it. At least she's telling America she's considering it. But America is saying that she only wants to do it if Riley has the votes to stay. Everyone's worried about being on the wrong side of the house this week and becoming the new target. So America has no problem saving Riley, would probably prefer to do it, but she's very much waiting to see what everyone else does before she makes her decision one way or the other. America is wondering, if Riley was saved this week, would Hisam go back after Riley if she's still around and Hisam is still around and he gets another chance at HOH? So America's wondering, would Hisam go back after Riley, or would he go after the people who maybe voted to save Riley instead? Nicole and America have decided or think that he probably would still go after Riley, just knowing how upset, how much he does not want Riley in this house. But Nicole is also saying, look, it's in my best interest to stay on Hisam's good side, regardless of whether we're successful or not in saving Riley. I want to stay on Hisam's good side. It doesn't do me good to have him as an enemy. All right, we've got Blue and Jag talking in the storage room. Blue is saying that Hisam told her that he gave this horrific, apparently, veto speech as a way to create house unity. Guess it didn't. Oh, I don't know. I was going to say it didn't work. Yeah, the house is unified, but they're unified against Hisam. Probably not what he was seeking, but he says he gave the speech to create house unity. Says that she told him, or Blue says that she said that if she and Jag join him, she thinks they're going to be the bottom of the pecking order, which is not really what they want. They're thinking, this is Blue and Jag, they're thinking that Izzy is probably stronger than Hisam on a social game standpoint. So, it's kind of implying that maybe they want to distance themselves from Hisam a little bit and maybe see if they can't get a little tighter with Izzy. But these two are discussing all kinds of possible alliances based on who goes home Thursday. If Riley stays, maybe we could work with these people. If she goes, maybe we need to work with these people. We aren't going to go into details. Just realize this: Blue and Jag are still looking for a place to land. They're not feeling real comfortable about their game right now. They talk about, I'll mention a little bit. They talk about a group of three with Hisam, perhaps, if Hisam can get over some of this stuff. But they also talk about possible alliance of the two of them, along with Suri, Felicia, Izzy, and maybe America. So again, Blue and Jag just trying to figure out how can they maneuver through this mess and come out on the other end. They do. Hisam has made gestures to Blue and Jag, and so as a result, they're seeing him coming to them, and so they're feeling like he could be a safe landing spot. But it means grouping with someone that they know the rest of the house is very much against and targeting. So a little uncertainty there. All right, we've got Hisam and Corey in the HOH room. Hisam is complaining that Riley really split the house on day number 2. And that's why he's so upset that Riley just came in there on day number 2, the day after she won HOH. She immediately split the house and how horrible it is. Corey saying, Riley just kind of came in and formed an alliance just like everyone else does. I'm not sure that it really was as bad as you're saying. She just was trying to form an alliance, Hisam. Yeah, he's not hearing any of that at all. Hisam is saying that a lot of people within Riley's alliance have claimed that Corey was the brains of the operation, that Riley was kind of the figurehead and the one running and everything, but that Corey was really the brains of the operation. Corey's denying it. He says, look, I only came into it because I kind of was forced to, because Riley saved me off the block, and so I felt obligated. He said, I wasn't even there when they formed the alliance. I'm just an add-on. I'm not the brains. I'm not the key. I'm just a person there at the end, Hisam. Don't think that I'm running that organization over there. All right, later we've got Hisam talking to Jag and Blue. Again, remember, he's trying to... Hisam knows he's vulnerable next week not playing for HOH, so he's trying to build some protection by reaching out to different people, such as Jag and Blue. So he's talking to Jag and Blue, and he's saying, look, my speech was supposed to be honest and transparent, but I realized it crossed over into cruel. Cruel is the word that Hisam used. I want to hear this speech. So he's admitting it crossed over into a cruel speech itself. Hisam is saying, look, I just didn't want a big alliance to form and steamroll everyone else like we've had in other seasons. I get it. No one wants that to happen, Hisam. He's saying he wanted a different kind of big brother taking place this season. Yeah, we want to see the power struggle back and forth and all of that, but things happen. It's just the way things. You can't take it personally if a big alliance forms. It's just the way it goes sometimes. And it's not as though we didn't have another alliance on the other side. So it was okay. He says he's very mindful of who he nominated, who he's going to nominate. He says he didn't nominate Matt since he's disabled, hearing impaired. He said disabled, so he didn't nominate Matt. I think Matt just wants to be treated fairly and equally compared to someone else. I don't think he wants special treatment or consideration because of his hearing impairment. But Hisam is actually saying, yeah, because of that, it's why I didn't put Matt on the block. So we have that. Now, they eventually do, during this conversation, agree to work together. They didn't call it an alliance. They just said work together going forward. All three are also agreeing not to share their conversations they have with each other with anyone else. They're debating whether they need to drag in a fourth person or not to this particular group as well. And then they start talking about the Thursday vote and where they think it's going to go and everything else. Hisam is saying he does not want to get blindsided with a vote to save Riley or a result that saves Riley. Well, Hisam, be ready, because we don't know for certain, but it could happen. But he does not want that. Jag is talking about or asking who Hisam could most easily work with if it came down to either Riley or Cameron staying. Who could he work with most? Hisam comes back and says, look, Riley is too emotional. She's too paranoid. She's too suspicious. I don't expect her to change going forward. That's what she was like during her week. I expect it not to be different. So Obviously, Hisam feels like he can work with Cameron much more than Riley. He's still mad, and Hisam just seems like he's treating this as a very personal situation in going after Riley. It seems to extend way beyond game at this point in time, and maybe this is a part of it. Hisam is saying that he's mad that her alliance did not include the 4 older people in the house. So he's feeling left out. He's feeling bad that he wasn't picked in the schoolyard pick to be on that side of the house. Maybe that's where a lot of this is coming from. He is mad about that. He says he is. He's saying that Riley has no awareness of what happens in the house. He's saying that white, pretty, heterosexual people get a pass in this game. We'll just leave that right there. I can talk on that a little bit. Yeah, I don't think it's that clear cut, Hisam. He says that he gave Riley a chance to redeem herself, and she didn't do it. He's saying that bi people of color don't get those same chances at redemption, and he's really upset about that. Hisam is getting worked up. This is not just talking strategy. The more he talks, the more anger he's getting. And Jag and Blue are just kind of sitting back saying, all right, yeah, not really contributing. This is going into a bit of a Hisam diatribe at this point in time, but he's saying that bi people of color don't get that chance at redemption. He's saying, look, I've been more than fair with Riley. Don't be saying I haven't been fair with her. Yeah, that speech was a little rough, but I've been fair with her. I've given her chances. I've done everything I can for her. He says, I can't redeem her myself. That's up to her. All I can do is give her the chance. He then follows out by saying he wants to teach Riley about consequences of actions. He's saying that Riley forced him and Jag to be against each other, that Riley forced a brown versus brown situation, that Riley forced a gay versus gay situation, and that's why he's so upset. He says he's tired of people with privilege forcing these divisions. Again, it sounds like Hisam is talking a lot more about maybe some topics and issues outside the Big Brother house, and not necessarily talking about the Big Brother game, because he's giving Riley a lot more credit for doing a whole lot more things than I think Riley was trying to do. Riley was just trying to create numbers that would protect her and get her forward in the game. Hisam has assigned quite the agenda to everything that Riley has done, and I don't think that was going on in her mind at all. All right, we've got Cirie. Talk for hours off the stuff that took place last night. We've got, and I know y'all don't want that. We've got Cirie and Riley in the hammock talking. Cirie is saying, look, Felicia's really upset about that veto speech from Hisam, and she's telling Riley that she needs to talk to Izzy, that if she can get Izzy's vote to save her, she should be good. That Izzy maybe is a little bit of a linchpin here. And I think there's something to that, because Izzy is waffling quite a bit on what she wants to do coming up on the eviction night. All right, later we've got Cirie and Izzy talking. I think they were outside that upstairs balcony area. Cirie is trying to convince Izzy to save Riley. But Izzy is worried that if they save Riley, it's going to lead to a power structure of Riley and Jag and Matt and Blue. Remember, Jag and Blue looking for somewhere to land if they can save Riley. Matt is obviously tight with them. And so Izzy is worried that if they don't get rid of Riley right now, that you're going to have a strong group of 4 on the other side that could regroup and come after Cirie and Izzy and Felicia. Not so much Cirie. I think Izzy realizes that they're going to come after Izzy before they come after Cirie or Felicia. So Izzy is worried about that other group reforming if they don't get Riley out while they can. Izzy is worried that Riley not only could get those people, but if they start getting power, that maybe they could grab some of these floaters. And she didn't say names, but I'm assuming Red, Cameron, maybe Bowie Jane. Grab some of these floaters, pull them back over to her side as well. And suddenly you got a big alliance that they're fighting against instead. So that's Izzy's concern. Izzy is also worried that Hisam will really blow up if they save Riley, and not sure how Hisam's going to handle not getting what he wants come eviction night. Jared has joined them and is agreeing with Izzy that Riley really could gain too much power if they allow her to stay in this house. But Cirie is reminding them that from the other end, Suri did pretty good. She's trying to argue that they need to save Riley. They start giving arguments about why that maybe isn't the case. So Suri comes back and says, well, here's the thing. Yeah, maybe y'all are right on that. But Cameron and Red are a pair. If you send Riley out the door, then you've got Cameron and Red. They're going to be a tight pair, and they could create a lot of power if Cameron stays. So either way, we may have to be dealing with power on the other side. Izzy ends up saying that if Riley stays, their entire preoccupation is going to be getting Hisam out. That is what Riley's really going to be focused on. So that's one advantage to keeping her in there. But Izzy eventually says her ultimate goal is just to make sure that she gets Hisam out before they get to jury. Does she not want to go to the jury house and spend 6, 7, 8 glorious weeks chatting with Hisam inside the house, the jury house? Yeah, I think that would be, I don't know. How would Hisam handle jury house? He'd probably still be trying to run the Big Brother house from inside the jury house. Is he saying, I don't want that? Well, Hisam needs to go pre-jury. So that's her goal. Izzy's telling Jared that it's really hard to support Riley, though, when she knows that Riley was mentioning her name previously as a target. And that's Izzy's concern, is that this is going to blow back on her more so than Suri or Jared or anyone else. Jared is saying that, look, Riley was really upset because you, Izzy, didn't appear excited enough when Riley won her HOH, which seems a little petty to me, but that's why Jared is saying that Riley maybe hasn't gelled so well with Izzy. There's talk about the two of them needing to talk with each other and smooth some of this stuff out, and I agree with that. All right, eventually we've got Corey joining them. Corey's done a good job of trying to move back and forth and talk and get in tight with as many people as he could. He is surprised that Riley took this long to talk to Izzy. Eventually, Riley had come over and had the initial discussions with Izzy. Corey's surprised. He said, I told her several days ago she needed to talk to everyone. I'm surprised it's just now happening. Yeah, it is. There's also talk about Hisam claiming again that Corey was the brains of the operation, and Corey doesn't want to be hearing that stuff. Izzy is getting more upset about Hisam lying about different people and their status and what they're doing in the game. She just is not a fan of Hisam. As very few people are right now. Corey is saying that Hisam right now is really spiraling, that everything seems so clear cut. Now maybe not so much, and Hisam is not handling it well at all. Izzy is counting votes. A lot of vote counting took place last night. Izzy's counting votes, deciding, seeing as she counts the votes that, yeah, they probably do have the power to keep Riley if they want to. And that's a decision that has to be made. Izzy eventually says she'll do whatever is best for the group of four. And I think she's talking about herself, Suri, Jared, and Corey. Not Felicia, but Corey right here. I tell you, Corey's doing a good job of not worming his way. That sounds wrong, but doing a good job of getting in with a lot of different groups. But Izzy saying, look, I personally maybe want her gone, but I'll do whatever the group decides, whatever's best for the group. Corey, again, has done a good job squeezing this group. Suri is telling Izzy that she knows that Izzy doesn't feel great about Riley, but truly, she says Riley is only going to have Jag and America and Blue, and you, Izzy, you're going to have a whole lot more support from our side of the house. We're going to have more numbers than they do. Yeah, they may have their little group over there, but we're going to have the bigger numbers, so don't worry about it. Easy for Suri to say, right? All right, they are worried that Hisam could bring in Jag and Blue, as we've seen him trying to do after Riley is gone, and that those three would be tough to beat in competition. So that continues to be a concern. They're thinking that keeping Riley could actually weaken Hisam. Yeah, it would. Hisam would be upset with everyone else in the house. He would feel the rug yanked out from underneath him. I think he would continue to be focused on trying to get Riley out. He'd be so worried about Riley and her group now targeting Hisam. It would indeed weaken him to a large degree. They're talking about getting, now here's some next level strategizing. They're talking about maybe convincing Jag and Blue to vote against Riley. Let them think that everyone's going to vote against Riley. They've said they want to be with the house. They don't want to be off on their own. So they're talking about trying to get Jag and Blue to vote against Riley so that then when Riley is saved, Riley's going to be upset at the two of them. She's going to turn against them as well. And again, they're trying to figure out a way to break up this potential power structure on the other side. Pretty smart thinking, actually. It's going to be fun if they can make that happen. All right. Meanwhile, we've got Jag and Blue still talking about new groups and where they could land and all that. They mention a possible trio with America. They're unaware of the other conversations that are taking place on the other side, and the whole, do we keep Riley or do we not keep Riley? And can we convince Jag and Blue to throw her under the bus only so we can throw them under the bus? I'm completely unaware, but they're talking about how they can handle their groups. All right, we've got Izzy and Cerise still talking. There were a lot of long conversations last night. Cerise is upset that Hisam is apparently trying to align with Jag and Blue after he told everyone, don't make any more alliances. It's just us. Let's not keep having everyone trying to make these little side deals. And Cerise sees that Hisam is going against that and is trying to pull in Jag and Blue. So she's not happy at all. She's agreeing that Cameron needs to go in addition to Cameron needs to go, followed by Hisam. Now, Surrey's been on the Save Riley bus, so I'm not sure what followed that or what's initiated that comment itself. But they are hoping that not only do they want to save Riley, but now they're hoping that the vote is unanimous just to make Hisam that much matter. So they either want the vote to be unanimous just to have Hisam feeling like the whole house is turned against him, or maybe get Jag and Blue and Matt to vote against, not Matt. Matt's going to vote to save Riley, but get Jag and Blue to vote against Riley just to throw them under the bus. Those are two different options that they're looking at. Both of them involve saving Riley, right? All right, we've got Izzy leaving. She finds Nicole and begins trying to convince her that maybe saving Riley's the right move. Nicole not on board whatsoever. She's pointing out, saying, look, whatever we do, Hisam is still going to be the house target. Whether we save Cameron, whether we save Riley, doesn't affect the fact that Hisam is target number one in this house, Izzy. She's saying we ought to get out Riley while we can before she can pull her numbers together. And then we can get out Hisam next week if we want. But we got to get out Riley. She's the most powerful person on the other side of the house. And she's convinced Izzy. She thinks, Nicole thinks that Cameron is more docile, more controllable than Riley is. That if they keep Cameron, they can rein him in and keep him from doing too much. Nicole's probably right. I think Nicole put out a very good argument. In fact, so good an argument, Izzy has now changed her mind and now saying, well, let's go back to talk to Suri again. Izzy is waffling so much, and she may be the deciding vote. At least her opinion is going to carry a lot of weight with everyone else. So it may be an interesting next couple of days. All right, because she wants to talk to Suri now and maybe hash this out once more. So we've got Izzy, Jared, Suri, and Felicia in the backyard. They're worried about a possible battle back situation, that they're going to send Hisam out the door and then he's going to come right back in. Suri saying, look, we can't worry about that. We can't strategize based on that. If it happens, it happens, but we can't cover every single base, and we can't cover a possible battle back. That's the one thing with battle backs. I do feel that sometimes stifles gameplay because people are worried about taking out a big target early, knowing that they can come right back in. So sometimes it has a negative effect because of that reason. And we're seeing some discussion on that last night. Felicia is wondering who Riley would put up if she stayed and potentially got HOH on Thursday. And Suri is thinking that Riley certainly is going to put up Hisam, right? Yeah, of course she is. Or she's going to backdoor him. Hisam doesn't believe in backdoors. Riley doesn't have any issue with it. But Suri is thinking that she'll go ahead and just put up Hisam, and then either Red or Bowie is just a straight up pawn. Could be. Riley may be more willing to backdoor Hisam, though, just because he's been so good at the competitions. It may not matter. She's got to win HOH first. All right. Nicole is again alone in the storage room with another great little conversation to the camera. She is not happy at all. She's saying that they want to keep a girl, Riley, with a group of supporters while getting rid of someone, Cameron, who basically has no supporters in the house, or very few supporters. And they're doing it just to irritate someone else in the house that has no supporters and is target number one. And she's saying it just does not make sense at all. I think she says something about the math doesn't math up or something like that. She doesn't see any vision to what they're wanting to do. It seems pretty cut and dried to her. So she's a little concerned about that. All right, we've got some time. Everyone's hanging out around the hot tub. We have a few people getting the hot tub, but a lot of people just sitting around the hot tub as well. Not a lot of game talk, just enjoying the backyards. Talk about some dating stories. Bowie's talking about renting a tour bus and just driving around the country and visiting everyone from the house when they get out. Everyone makes grand plans when you're sitting in the backyard kumbayaing with each other. Once the season's over, maybe not so much. Last season to be played still. So they may not be so friendly by the time they get to the end of it. All right, we've got Cirie and Izzy and Felicia back in the comic room talking about Jag, wondering what he'll do once Riley or Cameron is gone. They don't really know. They're suspicious of him because apparently he was telling Cirie that he kind of wants to save Riley, but then saying kind of different to Felicia that he's fine if Riley goes. So they're not real sure where Jag is on this thing. Talk again turns to Hisam. Cirie is saying that Hisam is stuck on white privilege, that he's stuck on pretty white girl privilege is the wording that she used. Izzy thinks that he's mad that he wasn't asked to join the Buff Kids Club in their alliance, and he feels stuck with the older people. I think Izzy may be onto something. I think that's probably it because, as I said before, it just seems very personal with Hisam right now. There's more talk about maybe saving Riley, but Izzy is worried that Riley maybe wouldn't actually protect her when it came down to it. Sometimes it's not about someone protecting you. It's just about what works better for your overall game and other people and everything else. But Izzy just doesn't feel like Riley's got her back the way maybe she would other people. And that's a fair statement. Felicia is saying, look, I want to make Riley promise to the camera. Pull her face right up to the camera, make her promise in front of everyone watching that she will never, ever, 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 ever put me up on the block while playing this game. You know, you can ask for favors, you can ask for protection, things like that. You ask someone to promise that no matter at what point in the game, they'll never put someone up. That's a tough sell. You're probably pushing a little too much. And as James Hewling said, you can bounce checks in the Big Brother house. You ask for too much, and Riley's going to say, yeah, whatever. I'll promise it, but I'm not following that. But Felicia wants an ironclad, absolute certainty that Riley is never going to go after them if they save her this week. She may promise it, but that doesn't mean that's going to be something you can count on going forward. Maybe for a week or two. Beyond that, probably not so much. All right. Cirie is saying, look, if we save Riley, the sole purpose to save her is just to have another strong person that can go after Hisam. That's why we would save Riley more so than anything else. So they're looking at numbers that are going to be aggressively going after Hisam. All right, we got a lot still to cover, so I'm going to go through this quick. We got Izzy saying that regardless of whether Riley or Cameron goes home, Hisam is still a target. So she's kind of saying some of the stuff that Nicole was saying. And she's saying, so why not? If Hisam's a target no matter what, let's take out Riley this week while we've got the chance, while she's there on the block before she can reform. Felicia, though, is worried that Hisam will come after them. But Cirie reminds her that Hisam said that he wouldn't come after brown people. But then Cirie is saying, yeah, but we're black, not brown. I'm not sure how we fall into that equation in terms of Hisam and who he feels is protected and who's not protected. Yeah, I don't know either. Hisam has some people that he feels falls within the envelope of his culture and his community he wants to protect. I just don't know how big that envelope is. All right, Corey and Jared are in the upstairs area talking a little bit. Corey is saying that he's the only time that's been investing time with America, that she's really smart, that she's a thinker. He thinks that's why they get along as well as they do. But he says, I'm the only one that's really spending time with her. And that's kind of true. America's really been quite the floater so far. But Corey's trying to change that. He's trying to get in with her as well. They're both, Corey and Jared, wishing they could work better with Blue. But they're saying she just talks too much. She talks to too many people. She isn't really reliable enough to bring in as a partner because we can't trust her. Not because she's devious or anything, but she just talks to a lot of people. So they're a little bit worried about getting too tight with Blue. Jared is saying that he absolutely believes that Cirie would take him and Corey over Felicia and Nicole in the end. Half right, I think. I think Cirie certainly would take Jared above Felicia and Nicole. Would she take Corey over those two? Not so sure about that. We got the Brown Sugar Babes that may have something to say about that. And Corey doesn't really believe that either, but Jared's trying to make that pitch. Corey is saying that Bowie Jane is very calm, that she would make a perfect pawn because of that. And he's thinking that if it wasn't for Hisam, Cameron would be going home in a heartbeat. Cameron was kind of the main target of the house until Hisam took over as HOH and just blew everything up of his own game. Jared is telling Corey that he really thinks that Corey needs to get close to Izzy and Sari. He says, if you can do that, you'll be good. You just need to make sure you're in with those two. And if that happens, you're going to coast here for a while. And he's probably right. And I think Corey's doing a very good job doing that so far. Corey comes back and says, look, my final four right now is myself, you, Jared, and Izzy and Sari. That's who I want to go to the final four with. Does he? Maybe. I know he's got a lot of respect for Sari, so that very well could be the case. I don't know that everyone else thinks that they want Corey as part of their final four. In fact, Corey at one point says no one wants to take us to a final four or a final five. That's just not the case. But final four, I know who I want. And so he has mentioned those names. I'm sure Jared's going to go back and report that to Izzy and Sari, and it's only going to help Corey in his game going forward. All right, we got Izzy and Matt on the hammock talking. Izzy saying that, look, Hisam is kind of over on my side. I know that's the case, Matt. She's saying, but Hisam and I, we're not really solid. And there is a door open for saving Riley this week. Matt is implying, I don't think he ever came right out and said it, but Matt's very strongly implying that he will be voting to save Riley this week. Says, we like each other. She's been nice to me and everything else. They are agreeing that regardless of what happens throughout the rest of this crazy house, they're agreeing they're not going to target each other. They have no desire to go after each other. So they handshake on that. Matt is telling Izzy that Hisam's not going to put up Jag or Blue. And again, it's because of the cultural, he's protecting certain groups and all of that. Matt is saying if he was HOH, one, he wants to be HOH so he can have one-on-ones, which will help with his hearing impairment, talking to people and all that. But he says if he was HOH, I think Izzy specifically said, what would you do? What would you do if you're HOH? And he said, well, I'd probably put up two people with the idea of backdooring Hisam. And Izzy's like, who would you put up? And he said, well, it'd probably be some people over on your side, but they would just be pawns. It would not be anything, not wanting to send them home. I'd just put them up and then backdoor Hisam is what I'd want to do. And Izzy says, yeah, that makes sense. I get it. You can't betray everyone and all that. Matt later tells Riley that he told Izzy that he would take the shot at Hisam in exchange for Izzy's vote to save Riley. Riley's very appreciative of that, and she still sees the potential happening on eviction night. All right, finally, we're going to wrap this up. We got Jag in America talking. Jag is saying, look, whatever happens, we've got to vote with the House this week so Izzy doesn't come after us. We wherever the House votes, we just have to make sure we know ahead of time and make that happen. Remember, we had the previous conversation with Sari saying, let's take Jag and Blue at the time, but America applies as well. Let's make sure they vote the wrong way against the rest of the House so that now Riley will be saved and go after them instead. So they're recognizing that their best play is however the House goes. At this point, they can't be worrying too much about saving people. They just have to vote with the House and hope that people are so focused on going after Hisam, they've got a couple of weeks to reconsolidate and maybe make something happen. So they very much want to figure out what the pulse of the rest of the House is. Jag is saying that he really feels good with her being America. They really feels good with America, Blue, Riley, and Matt. That he thinks there's something within that group they could make happen. This is the fear of Izzy and Sari and Felicia, the bye-bye bees, that just this type of group is going to form if Riley sticks around. It would be another number. So their concern is valid because Jag is certainly looking at that as an option. All right, finally, we've got Matt and Riley on the hammock. Riley wondering if people are more Team Hisam or Team Riley right now. Well, they're not Team Hisam. Does that mean they're Team Riley? Maybe. It does seem like they're leaning that way, not because they necessarily are such huge fans of Riley, but just because they want to make Hisam mad, and they want someone to go after Hisam, and we'll see. It's still too early. We got a couple of days left. I don't know which way the vote's going to go. I do think it's going to come down to Izzy, and who convinces her at the end and which way she goes. I think once she makes her decision, a lot of people are going to follow along with her as well. So we're going to find out. A crazy night. Everyone in bed by 4 o'clock or so, Big Brother time. Exhausted. I know I'm exhausted. So guys, y'all have a fantastic Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about more. I'm sure we'll have 24 hours of do we or do we not save Riley. I'll be back to report all of it. Until then, y'all have a great Tuesday. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.